Part 1. Why chasing doesn't work. You don't earn a woman's respect by chasing her, by pleasing her endlessly, or by trying to prove your worth. You gain respect by knowing your value and walking away the moment you realize it's not being honored. Real power doesn't come from control or games. It comes from self-respect, from inner stability. It comes from being the man who doesn't need validation to feel whole. Let's be honest, most of what society tells men about love and relationships is designed to keep you small. They tell you to serve, submit, sacrifice, and call it love. But where has that gotten you? Part 2. This is for the man who's had enough. This message isn't for everyone. It's not for the guy still hoping someone else will fix him. It's for the man who's tired of giving more than he receives, tired of performing to be chosen, tired of feeling invisible. This is your wake-up call. If you're ready for the truth, comment below, I choose strength. Part 3. What she's actually attracted to. She's not drawn to the guy who texts her 12 times a day, not the one who panics when she pulls away, not the one who's desperate to be loved. She's drawn to the man who's whole on his own, the one who could walk away, not out of spite, but out of principle, the one whose self-worth isn't shaken by someone else's mood. That's confidence, that's attraction, and that's something no one can fake. Part 4. The shift begins with you. The second your life starts to revolve around her approval, you lose your center. She can feel it, not in your words, but in your tone, your posture, your energy. You don't need to be cruel. You don't need to be distant. But you do need to be grounded. A woman can't deeply love a man who doesn't lead himself. Part 5. Stop needing, start becoming. The love you're craving, it doesn't come from texting her first, being overly available, or sacrificing your dreams. It comes when you pour all that energy into yourself. Start investing in your mind, your body, your mission. Train when it's hard. Read until your perspective changes. Cut out distractions, excuses, and toxic energy. Build your life like it's a kingdom, because it is. When you stop making her your purpose and start living with purpose, that's when everything changes. Part 6. Reclaim your energy. You become him, the man she can't forget. By reclaiming every piece of yourself you've outsourced to her attention. The laughs you fake when you're not amused, the apologies you give when you're not wrong, the energy you spend explaining yourself to someone who's already made up their mind. Take it back, every bit of it. You don't need to be cruel, just clear. Stop needing her. Start needing your own respect more than her affection, because the moment your priority shifts from being loved to being powerful, she feels it. She may not say it out loud, but her behavior will shift. She'll text faster. She'll show up softer. She'll trust you deeper, not because you demanded it, but because your presence made her feel safe. Part 7. True wholeness attracts real love. This isn't about becoming heartless. It's about becoming whole. True love cannot grow in insecurity. You must be so rooted in who you are that even if the world walks away, you remain. If you wake up needing her to complete you, you will always feel half. But if you build yourself brick by brick, until your presence alone commands attention, you'll stop chasing anything, because everything worthy will be drawn to you. Part 8. Hold yourself, not her. This is how you gain influence with a woman, not by holding on to her, but by holding on to yourself. Not by proving your worth, but by becoming so valuable, you never need to explain it. Don't text her. Text your future. Don't wait for her to call. Answer your mission. Don't beg to be chosen. Choose yourself until it becomes impossible for her not to. She doesn't want to rescue you. She wants to rise with you. She wants to feel inspired when she looks at you, not burdened. And she can't do that if you're constantly checking her emotional weather before making a move. Part 9. Stand in your truth. Stop walking on eggshells. Start walking with conviction. When she sees you stand in your truth, even when it shakes the room, that's when she trusts you. And if she doesn't, let her go. You're not here to convince her. You're here to become the man who builds the table, not begs for a seat at one. Unfollow her. Mute her stories. Stop orbiting her world, hoping she notices. Vanish into your evolution so profoundly that the next time she sees you, you're unrecognizable, not out of spite, but because you grew. Part 10. Purpose over validation. Her love is not your oxygen. Your purpose is. That's where real masculinity lives. In direction. In knowing where you're going, and not needing approval to go there. Become the man who leads his life so clearly, so unapologetically, that she either levels up to walk beside you, or is left behind by default. That's the energy she never forgets. That's the man she can't stop thinking about. Not because he dominated her, but because his peace was untouchable. Part 11. Master your mind. Power begins inside. She only trusts the man who trusts himself. She only follows the one who walks with certainty, even through chaos. You don't gain her respect by controlling her. You gain it by mastering the battle in your own mind. Be calm. Be clear. Be unshakable. That's not just attractive. That's irresistible. The real battlefield isn't between you and her. It's between you and your reactions, between your ego and your discipline, between your emotions and your mission. If you crumble every time she pulls away, if your entire mood shifts depending on whether she texts back or not, then you've handed over the most powerful thing you have, your internal stability. You must build a mind that doesn't rise and fall with someone else's approval. A mindset that isn't swayed by beauty and doesn't break from rejection. Most men don't lose because they lack value. They lose because they can't lead themselves. When she tests you, they panic. When she gets distant, they fold. When she challenges their direction, they collapse. What they don't see is she's testing to see if you're real, if the man in front of her is grounded, or just a mask held up by emotion. You want to win her? Stop performing. Stop reacting. Stop living on emotional autopilot. Build your awareness like a warrior sharpens his blade. Watch your thoughts without obeying them. Hear your fears, but don't follow them. When she challenges your ego, pause. Breathe. Respond like a man who doesn't need to prove anything. When she pulls away, don't chase. Hold your frame. Let her return to the gravity you've built. That's what she's watching. Not your words, not your compliments, but your center. Can it be shaken? You can't fake that. You either built it or you didn't. If you want to become him, you start by killing the boy who reacts. You stop giving in to every impulse, every fear. You don't send the angry text. You don't double text out of insecurity. You don't explain your worth to someone who questions it. You stay still, because stillness is power. Reaction is weakness disguised as strength. When she sees you won't be pulled like a puppet, that's when she leans in. She's not looking for control. She's looking for something rare. A man who doesn't lose himself. A man who doesn't run from discomfort. A man who walks through chaos, unmoved, That kind of man isn't born. He's forged. In silence, in repetition, in struggle. You build him every time you hit the gym when you don't feel like it. You build him every time you meditate instead of react. You build him when you read, when you reflect, when you choose growth over comfort. Mastery isn't about coldness. It's about clarity. You're not detached. You're grounded. And when a man is rooted in his mission, when his emotions are signals, not commands, that's when he becomes unshakable. And that's what makes her feel safe, to be soft. Not your promises, your presence. Not your charm, your center. Choose discipline over impulse, presence over performance, and become the man that nothing and no one can shake. Every time you feed the discomfort, you're feeding the child inside you that cries for comfort. But you're not here to nurture weakness. Starve the child. Feed the warrior. You are not here to be emotionally available to chaos. You're here to lead. And leadership, it always starts within. She can't follow you if you can't even follow through on your own word. So say less. Move more. Build a code of values and live by it, relentlessly. Make your mornings sacred, make your words few, and your actions loud. Refuse to argue. Refuse to defend. Refuse to react. You're not here to convince her. You're here to become a man who needs no convincing. And when she feels that, when your energy stays calm while the world spins, she won't pull away, she'll pull closer, because you've become the lighthouse in her storm, a steady presence that leads not through force, but through clarity, not through aggression, but through certainty. That's how you earn influence, not by overpowering a woman, but by mastering yourself so completely she chooses to follow, not because you asked, but because you earned it. Master your mind, and she'll never forget your presence. True strength isn't shown when people are watching. It's revealed in the silence. When she doesn't reply, and you don't chase. When you want to explain, but choose stillness instead. When you crave validation, but walk away without it, unfazed. That's when you become untouchable. She doesn't need a man who reacts to her emotions. She needs a man who can lead her through them, through her storms, through her fears. Without losing balance, you don't become that man by consuming content. You become him through daily rituals, through action. Create non-negotiables. Train daily. Wake up before the world. Grind while others sleep. Lead yourself so deeply that your life becomes a magnet. And when she returns, when she feels that your stillness never broke, she won't question you again. Because stillness like that, it shifts the dynamic entirely. She doesn't want to mother you, she wants to mirror you. And a mirror reflects strength. It reflects order. It reflects clarity. So build that quietly, daily, permanently. Part 3, control the frame. If you don't own the frame, you don't even exist in her world. You're just orbiting it. She won't follow a man who bends. She won't trust one who adjusts his values to keep her. She wants to feel your foundation, to know that it's real, not sand, stone. Every time you compromise your truth for approval, she loses a layer of respect. Frame isn't about controlling her, it's about commanding your own direction. The man who holds frame doesn't raise his voice. His presence speaks louder than words. His silence echoes. She feels the difference between a man who leads and a man who negotiates his values for peace. She sees when you stop calling out disrespect. She notices when you tolerate what you once stood against. And no, it's not because she's trying to manipulate you, it's because biologically, she needs to feel safe. And safety comes from certainty. Certainty is born when you're willing to walk alone, rather than fold to stay liked. Frame is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the discipline to hold your line, even in the fire. When she tests you with attitude, silence, or distance, she's not attacking. She's asking, are you still who you said you were? The moment you shift your energy to avoid conflict, you lose ground. The moment you over-explain, rationalize, or justify, you weaken your stance. And she feels it. Not always in words, but deep in her nervous system, because she's not listening to what you say. She's watching who you are when it's hard to be him. Betrayal, you're done. You cannot command respect from a position of apology, especially when you've done nothing wrong. If you never betrayed your values, you owe no explanation. Holding frame means knowing your values and making them non-negotiable, not even for the woman you love. You don't explain boundaries, you enforce them. You don't beg her to understand your worth. You live it so fully, it becomes undeniable. She doesn't fall for flexibility. She falls for groundedness. The man who can say no with calm, steady energy changes everything. It surprises her, because so few men say no without anger or insecurity. But when you say it with confidence, with clarity, she leans in, because frame isn't arrogance. Frame is knowing you are the chooser, not the applicant. She's entering your world, not the other way around. Your life is the center of gravity. And if you dilute that with over-accommodation, you become forgettable. Frame is knowing what you want and never betraying it. If you say you don't tolerate lateness, don't. If you say cheating is non-negotiable, don't negotiate. If your mission comes first, never trade it for comfort. She will test the frame, not to hurt you, but to see if it's real. And every time you hold it, her respect for you rises. But the moment you fold, you start to disappear in her eyes. Frame isn't dominance, it's direction. You must be so certain about where you're going that she either joins your path or watches you walk it alone. You are not here to adapt to chaos. You are here to invite her into your order. And if she can't join you, you release her. Not with anger, but with peace. Because the man who knows his path knows not everyone is meant to walk it. Audit your life like a king audits his court. Who adds to your empire? Who drains it? Who respects the throne? And who undermines it when you're not looking? You do not beg people to stay. You build so powerfully that their absence is their loss, not yours. That is frame. That is power. You don't shrink your world to be liked. You build your world so powerfully, only the aligned remain. And when she feels that you're not moved by her moods, threats, or silence, that's when she softens. That's when she surrenders. That's when she feels safe. Not because you control her, but because you control yourself. And the truth? She doesn't want to lead. She wants to trust your leadership. But that trust is earned. It begins the moment you put your values, your vision, your mission before her emotions. Love her deeply, but never more than the principles that define your life. Because when you put her above your purpose, she loses the compass she was looking to follow. You lead by being unshaken. And leadership isn't loud. It's in your tone, your timing, your truth. And when you live that truth, her only question becomes, do I align or do I exit? And either way, you stay rooted. Part 4. Lead without chasing. The man who leads doesn't chase. He builds a world she wants to enter. Leadership isn't found in pursuit. It's found in presence. She doesn't follow the man who tries to convince her, who over-explains himself, who floods her with gifts hoping she'll stay. She follows the man who walks his path with such clarity that her instincts tell her, align or be left behind. Because chasing isn't noble, it's a confession of lack. It says, I don't believe in my value, so I need yours to feel whole. But what happens when you turn that validation inward? When you stop running toward her and start running toward your greatness? That's when she sees you. Because attraction doesn't begin with pressure. It begins when desperation ends. She doesn't want to be overwhelmed. She wants to be inspired. And inspiration comes from motion. Build your life so powerfully that your presence alone feels like gravity. You don't need to yell. You don't need to chase. You just need to walk in purpose. Your discipline is your magnet. Your silence is your allure. Your path is your offer. And if she can't see that, she's not ready. And you don't slow down for the unready. You keep building. You chase mastery, not women. You train, read, learn, and grow. You become the man who doesn't need to be chosen, because you've already chosen yourself. You lead without chasing, by building a life so fulfilling that even if she walks away, nothing falls apart. Because the man who leads without chasing brings peace, not chaos. Direction, not confusion. Order, not desperation. This kind of presence can't be faked. It's forged in mornings when no one is watching, in reps when no one is counting, in reflections when no one is listening. And she sees that. She's always watching. Not your posts, not your DMS, but your actions when she pulls away. And when she sees you stayed the course, she'll shift. Her tone softens. She initiates. She follows. Not because you chased, but because you led. You reclaim your throne, not above her, but ahead of her, where you were always meant to be. You weren't born to chase approval. You weren't built to beg for love. You're not here to shrink. You're here to shape the world. The moment you stop trying to be liked and start becoming a man who is respected in silence, your whole life changes. Women feel it. Opportunities feel it. The world bends to the man who bends for no one. You don't have to be perfect, just progressing every single day. Stop waiting for someone to see your worth and start becoming the man who never has to say it, because it shows in everything he does. Your leadership starts when your excuses die. Your power begins the moment you decide, I will never fold on my values again. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are just buried under comfort, distraction, fear. Burn it all. Rise from it. Become unrecognizable. Not for her, not for the world, but for you. For the version of you who would never settle, never beg, never explain why he walks the path. No one. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. It helps the channel grow and reach more people who need to hear this. Stay strong, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next video.